Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Extra Time TV. This is Andre Soca, joined by Andre Samuel once again. Andre, listen, we just came off from a very brutal beatdown from United States men's national team. It was 5-0. We're going to do a quick reaction and also some previews with the other games. But, Andre, 5-0. What are your initial thoughts?
This was a real shock to the system. Really, it's a reality check in terms of the work that still needs to be done. I saw a Trinidad and Tobago side that I did not recognize from the last performance against Costa Rica. It was difficult for us to put two passes together. Oh, by the way, I still want to give credit to the United States team because they came on, and the word that they were using in training for the week was relentless, and they pressured our team to the point where we didn't get, for the first entire half, we couldn't string 2, 3, 4, 5 passes together. It was very difficult. So they swarmed our players a lot. As soon as the central defensive players, whether it be Anjani or whether it's Daniel Phillips, they didn't get time to dictate the pace of the pace of play, to feed the ball into Kevin, to get the ball on the wings to Spicer in the first half. Lee was a non-factor. It was as if nobody was up top. And it was just a horrendous display. I saw that they were running, they were putting in the miles, but it wasn't miles towards a particular purpose for a solid outcome. And then there are the individual mistakes. In the last preview, what I said was that it's about consistency, it's about concentration, it's about doing the little things effectively. And we saw from Alvin today, and Alvin has been, he has been an Achilles heel for the United States, where, he scored that goal in 2017 that knocked them out of the World Cup. He also scored that free kick last year, I believe, in the Nations League that won the game for us 2-1, against them. However, he played as if he owed United States one. And I feel for him slightly. I mean, I got some stick for saying this in the group because I can imagine psychologically how it affected him. Because I saw that he was distraught at halftime. He was distraught because he really gave away all 3 goals in the first half. I remember for the first goal, Kevin was under pressure and played the ball to him. He had a bad first touch and tried to slip it to the central defender, lost the ball, goal scored. The second goal is a goal that not even acceptable in primary school. You can't at any level be playing passes blindly like that. It's no, the sense of concentration and awareness is unforgivable. And then there's the third goal where the defender beat him and was able to fire a free shot on goal. There's nothing I could say that was positive in the first half, and I'll give my thoughts on the second half in a little bit.
Yes, just to highlight a couple of things, Pochettino, while he did not have great results in the last couple of games heading in, one of the main characteristics of anybody who follows Pochettino is that he likes to play with youthful players. He loves to press that Marcelo Bielsa. He's one of those students of Marcelo Bielsa, for those who pay attention to that, Simeone and those types of players, even Pep to an extent. And to me, it was not a surprise, even though they did not get the results in the previous games leading up to this. That was one of my, concerns that I briefly touched on, you and I, in the preview, where eventually, and the pressing of Luna, which was very impressive for me, he was able to anticipate that back pass, and it just shows you the gap from playing possibly in the CFU when you jump up a notch, the pace and the quickness of decision making. And I always remembered funny enough, when you and I were in Argentina and we played Argentina, I was fortunate enough to see one of the videos and interact with the team where Stephen Hart was saying the players were all distraught. And that's, well, not like this. I mean, against Argentina, 3-0 was great when you look back now. But when Stephen Hart said something very important, when you play at this level, now they see the level where they are and where they need to be. And it's clearly a massive gap because, you could see at points in time the team looked a little bit frustrated. They tried to even resort to being physical at times. And, the kudos to the US men's team. They were able to play around the press and we were not able to hold on to the ball. We desperately had to resort to individual talents, players running past a couple players on the wings to create chances. We did do some in the second half, which we'll get to really quickly. And it was, I don't want to say expected, because I think in terms of the U.S. men's national team program, they are way ahead in terms of resources and how they're doing things. They have high standards for themselves. And, when we do our preview, which will be in a following episode, we'll talk about the consequences. But, I'll just pull up the stats really quick from SofaScore, which I can't get right now for some reason. But it was obvious that they were in control. They controlled the midfield, and it showed a lot of deficiencies where our ability to manage the game in the middle of the park was just non-existent at times. So lots of questions, Andre. Lots of questions.
Yeah, for sure. And I really I kind of understood what Dwight wanted to do at the start of the game. He played with the extra midfielder in Noah Powder to kind of give that to kind of bring that shield for the defense. The outlet was for Spicer out wide. Additionally, there was the to play Lee up top to hold up the ball. I mean, I thought that Natty would have started, but this is a nice little game to show that the truly importance of having depth in your squad, because you look at the USA and people took this USA team for granted. This is a USA B team, essentially. They're missing a host of top international players, but the players who started for them today, they are just not familiar to us as Trinidadians, but they are also the top MLS players that the US have as well. One of their brightest young talents, and a couple of players sprinkled with a couple of players playing in Europe. So they still had a couple of Premier League players. They had a player playing in Holland. They have a player playing in in Italy. So they have strong players in that squad. So while we were looking at the lineup and thinking that we have a chance, they had other ideas and they came up with a plan and they gave us no rest whatsoever. The goals that we gave away were I can't even try to think who came up with the head held high. I think maybe Marvin, although he was at fault for the fourth goal, but I mean it was a shooting gallery. So how much can he save? Because he did save 3 or 4 point blank goals for us today. And trending towards the second half, things look a little different in the sense that we brought on who I thought would have started at Andre Raymond. We also brought on, I believe, was Cardines for Alvin. And then I think so. And then we took off Lee and we brought on Natty at the start of the second half. And I think Nathaniel James was one of the bright spots in that game today, when with the little opportunity that he had to show what he could do on the ball. He was tricky, he was nippy. He was getting in behind. He had a shot on target. Spicer came to life in the second half, where he showed a little more ability to get past his player. And we almost scored where the keeper got a touch when Dante was sliding the ball, was about to slide the ball into an open net. So we showed a little more fight in the second half. And you touched on it, the physicality, where we became a little more physical. So we were, we were we were leaving our marks on them, which I don't mind sometimes. You can't let somebody just run over you during the course of the game. But you also show that there were clear different levels of quality there. And on the last thing I want to touch on is the defending. Sheldon Batu has been a loyal servant of Trinidad Tobago football for a very long time. I know Angus didn't pick him for a couple of years. He has come back into the squad. But today, his defending was atrocious. And he's one of my favorite Trinidad and Tobago players. And what I saw today for the fifth and fourth goals today was defending on becoming of a player who I held or who I hold in such high regard. I really don't know what to say. I don't know what exactly was the plan today, or I don't know. But again, we saw a little more fight in the second half but again, USA also probably take their foot off the gas because they were 3 goals ahead. And then they made a couple of changes, and the players that they brought on, each of them scored. One was ushered to the goal and opened up for to shoot on Marvin. I saw the guy who, I think the guy, what's his name? He plays for Leeds. He beat past, I can't remember who he beat past. Probably it was Battle, probably. And it was a ball. He beat the player, and the ball was like about probably a meter or two away from him in our box. That was it. It wasn't a close control beat. It was a beat where he pushed the ball a little bit away from him. And there was no defender in any proximity to challenge the ball. And he was even thinking about the ball on slotted pass. Same thing with Battle for the fifth goal, escorting the player and allowing him to shoot. I think he was probably waiting on some coverage to come to support. But all in all, it was a real embarrassing display because I think this team is better than that. They could play better football than that. I was giving some of the American broadcasters some stick because before the game were they were not talking about they weren't doing any previews and mentioning anything positive about Trinidad. They were talking about how weak we are, and they were just focusing on the USA 99.9% of the time. And after by the end of the first half, I couldn't say anything again. It was true to form. I was embarrassed because the scoreline was, although it was 3-0, the scoreline could have been 8.
Yes.
It could have been 8-0 at halftime. We didn't have a shot on goal. It was about 13 or 14 shots they had in the first half. We didn't have a single shot, you know? And on top of that, now we on top of them dominating, and I could understand if a team is dominating. What I can't accept is the fact that we've been gifting goals on top of that. It's one thing to play a team that's better than you. It's another thing to hand them goals. And I'm sorry to say, but Alvin gave them 3 goals today, and Bato gave them 2.
Yes, and just the quote, the great Don Leo, one of the things he said when he first took over Trinidad, and then when he came back as a consultant, that was a line he loved to state. In the few, videos I saw with him, he said, we have so many unforced errors. We have to eliminate that from our football. And that's something he said in 2006. And when he came back, when Stephen Hart took over, and we're seeing it, as you said, we making mistakes, unforced errors. Like, for example, for that turnover, yes, it was Luna was good to intercept the ball. Yes, they press a lot. But this is where, the decision making at this level, and it shows the U.S. men's national team, the level they are playing at. And just to pull up, I finally got the score from the stats from SofaScore really quickly. Possession-wise, they had 70%, 8 big chances, 21 shots, which is our 3. They just had 2 saves, and, they were, I think that was Nathaniel James, if I'm not mistaken. I think that
One was from Nathaniel and the other was from Spicer.
Right, yeah. I remember that one. And then, well, the usual stats, and I'm going to call out all of them. There's a lot. Yeah, they had way more passing, 587 completed passes. So, overall,
How many completed passes we had?
we had 246.
Okay, well, probably out of that 246, 146 probably came in the second half because we kind of played a barely got a touch in the first.
And, they had a start here, 8 big matches. And, of course, there's a momentum map, which I'll probably put up when I edit this. The short map is just a whole bunch of dots on our screen. So that's kind of expected. There's nothing new here. You could see here on the heat maps, they totally control the middle. So this game, we all knew, we were not delusional into thinking that, we were in any means anything other than the underdogs. But I think in the manner in which we conceded, kind of reminds me of when I was having a discussion with my Inter Milan group, where we spoke about the PSG game, where PSG obviously won that game 5-0, but it's the manner in which they conceded the goals, to their credit, as you said. And this is me, looking at the glass really half full rather than half empty. They showed some fight. But there are very few, and I'm sure Dwight Yorke is going to have his notes right now, sitting down and, realizing, okay, the task at hand is not as easy. I know we have the euphoria, and Dwight Yorke is back. I'm a huge fan of him and all the players. That's why we do this. But also, being a fan means also, being able to talk about these things. And it's very obvious that the task at hand, not just at the Gold Cup, but to get us to the World Cup, is by no means an easy thing, as it stands right now. Things may change in a couple months. We'll have to see if Dwight Yorke, learns from this. A lot of people are already, jumping off the quote-unquote bandwagon. But,
Of course, you're gonna get that for sure. You're gonna get that for sure. You're gonna get people the skeptics who were biting their tongues before were going to come out and he's going to get some heat. But the good thing is that there's a game 3 days away. So there we have a chance to make things right against Haiti.
Yes.
I think I'm not sure if the game has ended. It was 1-0 a little while ago. Saudi Arabia was leading 1-0.
Yeah.
So I'm not, and that was in 90th minute. So that game should be done by now. So if that is the case, then we definitely need to beat Haiti on Thursday. I'll be at that game.
Oh, nice. Good. We'll have some inside coverage from Andre, folks. So as the group stands, you're right. So it ended 1-0. USA on top with 3, Saudi Arabia with 3, and Haiti, of course, for Trinidad 0. The goal difference, of course, massively different, -5. But we'll do a full match preview like we usually do. We'll probably have Kenwin on and some other people as well. We'll have a trio. People seem to be liking the Andre and Andre combo. But with that being said, before we end things off, folks, stay tuned, like, subscribe, continue to support us. We really appreciate the support and the dialogue that we're having. As football fans, this is great. But heading into the next game, we won't do the preview now. But Andrew, what do you think is the approach mentally heading into this next game? I mean, to me, it's a must win.
Yeah, definitely it's a must win. Levi will be back, so there'll be a little more confidence in the camp. I don't know what will be Alvin's state of mind. I don't think he will play because he seemed very distraught at halftime. Because he knew that he cost his side, and so it's a matter of Yorke just making some tweaks to ensure that that we have the players who have the right mindset, who are able to put this result past them and move on and take Thursday as a new day and keep their heads up and push towards a positive result. I still believe that the team can play solid football. The result definitely was not good, but I think that they could pick themselves up. They got the hardest game out of the way. Now it's time to let the world know that Trinidad could still play good football.
Yes, and these are the games, we could easily play teams of, equal or lower quality and fool ourselves and get great results. But these are the games where you get slapped around, you get all the bandages, and you learn from it. And the key is, hopefully, we learn from this. We spoke about this multiple times in all our videos. That's the one plus side of playing top quality teams. You get to see where you are and where you need to be, and you can work towards it. So, this is a quick reaction. We'll speak about this in more detail in another video, of course, which will be coming up, which will be a preview for the Haiti game. And folks, you can let us know what you think in the comment section. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think he should have done differently? Let us know your thoughts. It's an open discussion. We'd like to hear what everybody has to say. I'm sure everybody has their thoughts. That's the wonderful thing about football, Andre. Everybody could look at the same game and interpret it so differently.
Right.
That's how we'll see it. So obviously, there's a lot of work to be done. It's very difficult to find positives out from this game, but that's what these games are for. We want to do well in the Gold Cup, but the overall objective is the World Cup, but we still, Trinidadian pride, we want to do well in these tournaments. And as you said, I think we are better than what we saw today. I hope Alvin Jones recovers. These things can be very brutal. We spoke about this little part in all our videos, the psychological component of elite level football. It is a component, and it's not this strange taboo thing. Argentina, I'll just use an example because I follow them. But, as big as they are, Messi, Di Maria, Dibu Martinez, those guys got, personal mental coaches to help them deal with the stress of these things. So it's a very real thing. And, I hope Alvin and those guys, bounce back. And we end the Gold Cup on a positive note. The next game is against Haiti, folks. Let us know what you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is a long, quick reaction. But, Andre, it's always a pleasure. And, hopefully, folks, we'll have something positive to speak about in the next game. So look out for the preview. And we'll be seeing you all soon.
All right, take care. Emma.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching Extra Time TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe.